Now coming up after the break, Gavin Morris with the weather.
Scientists have discovered what they believe to be the oldest fossils on Earth. They were found in rocks up to 4.28 billion years ago in Canada.
This is exciting. The oldest fossils on the planet. It relates us to our origin. I mean, this is one of the reasons for intelligent life to evolve.
Until now, the oldest known evidence of life had been found in Western Australia's Pilbara region. And still on matters science, a small patch of mould has sold for $19,000 at auction. It dates back to the 1930s and was instrumental in the discovery of penicillin. Sir Alexander Fleming accidentally made the discovery while researching blood poisoning. He's the Scottish-born Australian who has been there for some of our most important political moments, but few people know his name. Now an exhibition of David Foote's finest work is celebrating years of significant snaps. To finance now, and as we saw earlier, the market was almost 70 points higher. Our dollar is buying 76.5 US cents. Time for the weather with Gavin Morris. Good evening, Gav.
R32, now available in Dakin ducted systems. A next-generation refrigerant with a substantially lower impact on the environment. Ensure your next ducted system is a Dakin for pure comfort. Dakin.
Thank you, Vanessa. Nice to see some rain starting to spill over the southern ranges, not really reaching the plains today. We're into the low 30s, but we've seen the humidity levels begin to increase. That is good news. Temperatures up around 30, mostly throughout the higher elevated areas, and you can see on the radar some of those showers and isolated storms moving in. Most of the rain has been falling along the coast over the past 24 hours, with the little isolated pockets only reaching the western slopes. Decent falls occurring in the west underneath this cloud cover, but this is what we're interested in. It has been very humid on the eastern side of the divide. Some of that moisture content spilling in over the flatlands and the plains, and we saw that reflected in the cumulus cloud formation overhead. This was a lovely increase in cloud and moisture, producing good rain over the Alpine districts, the Monero, up the ACT, and reaching the western slopes throughout today. Now the trough line remaining in place on the surface, the upper level cold pool coming into play, and it is likely we'll see an east coast low form. Big flooding rain on the way for the southern New South Wales coast in towards the southern ranges. Some of it, not much, is going to spill in over the tablelands. Not much of it will reach the plains, but there's a little something there. This trough line extending all the way north into Queensland, pretty much running right along the Great Divide at this point. So therefore storms now in the forecast for the Canberra, the capital, Sydney, Brisbane, 30, very humid indeed. Hot in the centre for Adelaide and in the west, and storms returning to Darwin with light rain and drizzle on the way for Melbourne. So taking a look at the forecast rain for tomorrow, it's going to be interesting. Showers now spilling in over the southern ranges, and we may see some just little pockets there, those clouds filling up with enough moisture to produce some isolated showers in across parts of the southern plains and around the Riverina. Still hard to come by that moisture inland, but those southeasterly certainly helping with it. There's that formation of that east coast low. That's going to be the hot spot as far as potential flooding rain is concerned. So at least we've got some shower icons here, but the further east you are, the greater chance that you'll get a little bit of activity. The shower activity right throughout the western plains here is going to be really hard to come by indeed. Temperatures still fairly warm, and it is going to be a little more humid. Temperatures into the low 30s right across the western plains. We could have some isolated storm development, particularly over the tablelands. The central tablelands will get quite active in the coming days. Beautiful forbs there, 32 with a risk of a shower, and you should see some of those towering queues off in the distance as well. Taking a look at the sunrise at about 10 to 7, down at 7:43, and we've got a slither of moon on our hands at the moment with that new moon. So the long range forecast around the southwest slopes and towards the plains, sadly not as much shower activity. Isolated showers producing a millimetre or two at best, I'm afraid, and then drying back out. It is cooler though as we move into the early days of autumn. Cool also, greater chance of seeing some showers and storms there right across the tablelands and the central west plains. Also only isolated showers expected.
That's 9 News. I'm Vanessa. Good night.